The greatness of a man is not in how much wealth he acquires, but in his integrity and his ability to affect those around him positively. Bob Marley. Before the world knew his name, before the music, the dreadlocks, and the global stage, there was just a barefoot boy from the hills of 9 Mile, Jamaica, named Robert Nesta Marley. Bob was born into poverty in 1945. His mother, Cedella Booker, was just 18 years old, a strong, humble woman who raised him alone after his father, a white man in his 60s, abandoned them. In rural Jamaica, being of mixed race wasn't easy. Bob didn't belong anywhere. Too dark for the whites, too light for the blacks. He was bullied, rejected, and constantly reminded that he didn't fit in. But even as a child, Bob had something inside him. A quiet fire. A conviction that his life meant more than the pain around him. He once said, "You never know how strong you are until being strong is your only choice." At night, he would sit outside his small tin-roof house, staring at the stars, listening to the rhythm of the crickets and the whispers of the wind. He didn't have instruments, but he had rhythm. He had heart. When he moved to Trenchtown, one of Kingston's poorest neighborhoods, his dream began to take shape. Among the chaos, violence, and hunger, music became his weapon, his way out and his way up. Trenchtown was tough, a place where hope was stolen early and survival came first. But for Bob, it was also where he found his brothers in rhythm, Peter Tosh and Bunny Wailer. Together, they formed the Wailers, and their music carried something different, not just sound, but soul. But it wasn't easy. Their songs were banned from radio. Record labels rejected them. People called their style too raw, too rebellious. Still, Bob refused to bend. He said, "My music will go on forever. Maybe it's a fool say that, but when me know facts, me can say facts. My music will go on forever." He kept writing, kept singing, kept believing. Then came 1963, their first break, Simmer Down. It hit Jamaica like thunder. Suddenly, the world was listening. But fame didn't come with fortune. The Wailers still lived poor, struggling to feed their families. And yet, Bob never lost his vision. He believed his music wasn't meant to make him rich. It was meant to make people free. He said, "One good thing about music, when it hits you, you feel no pain." Every lyric carried truth, rebellion, and faith, words that spoke to the oppressed, the broken, and the lost. He wasn't singing for fame. He was singing for freedom. Success finally came, but so did the trials. In 1976, as Jamaica was torn apart by political violence, Bob tried to bring peace through his music. He organized the Smile Jamaica concert, hoping to unite people. But not everyone wanted peace. Just 2 days before the concert, gunmen stormed his home. Bob was shot. So was his wife, Rita, and his manager. The next day, with his arm bandaged and pain in every movement, Bob stepped on stage and performed anyway. When asked why, he said, "The people who are trying to make this world worse are not taking a day off. How can I?" That night, his performance became legend. It wasn't just about music. It was about courage. It was about standing tall in the face of fear. Even after the attempt on his life, Bob never stopped spreading his message of unity and love. He became a global voice for peace, performing to massive crowds and inspiring millions. But behind the scenes, his health began to fail. In 1977, doctors discovered melanoma, a form of skin cancer. They told him to stop touring, to rest, but Bob refused. He said, "Money can't buy life." Bob Marley died on May 11, 1981, at just 36 years old. But the message he left behind, love, unity, and resistance, outlived him by decades. From the ghettos of Kingston to the stadiums of the world, his voice became the anthem of freedom for countless people. He said, "Emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. None but ourselves can free our minds." And that's exactly what he did. not just for Jamaica, but for the entire world. Today, his music still moves people deeply, not simply because of the rhythm, but because of the undeniable truth in his words. He taught us that greatness isn't about power, wealth, or fame. It's about impact. It's about standing for something meaningful when everyone else stays silent. Bob Marley's life was short, but his influence was eternal and far-reaching. He turned pain into purpose, hate into love, and oppression into hope. And maybe that's the real lesson of his life. You don't need perfect conditions to make a difference. You just need the courage to keep playing your song, even when the world tries to silence it. Because legends never die. They live on forever in the hearts they touch and the change they inspire.